Mr. Chairman. General, let me paint a little picture of the FBI that I knew for many years, and I think most would agree. They are the premier law enforcement agency, not just in the United States, but I think most likely in the world. Would you agree with that?
I think they're viewed, and I'll say one of, because we oversee other law enforcement agencies at the Justice Department.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you off the hook on that one. But also that Mr. Strzok, who's risen to a very high level within that organization, has to be a premier agent within the premier agency, the FBI.
That's certainly what we were told.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
And so, and in fact, I don't know that the FBI, at least in the 40 years that I've been in law enforcement, ever conducted an investigation that brought the integrity of the agency and the investigative process under such scrutiny and questioning of the integrity of the agency. Would you agree with that?
It certainly has brought incredible scrutiny and undercut the credibility of the organization in a way that is unfair to all these thousands of agents out there.
Exactly. And I've never seen anything like it. And in fact, even Agent Strzok, I don't know of anything in his past that ever questioned his integrity and his service to the FBI or his country.
I'm not aware of anything.
So when I look at your report, and then you outline several investigative and prosecutorial missteps in this particular case, and I'll read just a few of them for you. This is from the Roman numeral 1 in the summary. The preference for consent over compulsory process to obtain evidence. Decision to obtain, not to obtain, or to seek to review certain evidence such as the personal devices used by Secretary Clinton's senior aides. The use of voluntary witnesses over these interviews. Quote, decisions to enter into letter use or queen for a day immunity agreements with 3 witnesses, some of which I think might have been potential targets as well, had the potential anyway. The use of consent agreements and active production immunity to obtain the laptops used by Clinton's attorneys, Cheryl Mills and Heather Samuelson, to cull her personal and work-related emails. The handling of the Clinton interview on July 2nd, the tarmac meeting, the mid-year exam delay in looking into the Anthony Weiner laptop situation, Director Comey's drafting of exoneration letter in May. So my question is, when you look at these things in their totality, you look at them individually, you may not see much, but you know, in a civil rights prosecution, you look at patterns or practices that will overcome any written policy that they may be presenting, and all a plaintiff has to do is show a pattern or practice to overcome a defense by an organization that, you know, we have this policy against the, so when you say that you found political bias, but it had no effect on the investigation, it seems to negate this pattern or practice that clearly existed in this investigation.
I want to say we didn't find that it didn't have any impact on the investigation. We couldn't possibly have looked at all these decisions, as you said, that covered all this period of time. What we found was focused on the individual investigations, and I think what's important for people to understand is, our responsibility as inspectors, as an inspector general or as inspectors general, in looking at these issues, is not to say this was thorough or not thorough, or the best choice or not the best choice, or could have been done more aggressively or not, but We're looking at, was there misconduct?
Let me ask one more question
Yeah.
very quickly. Have you ever seen a public relations campaign mounted surrounding an investigation like we saw here, where there's a SAC conference so that the agency can pass down information on this case so that they can swat down, quote, swat down stories about it, and they even briefed retirees. Have you ever seen that before?
It's a great question, Congressman. Actually, the first in yesterday's hearing and today was asked about that portion of the report. And it doesn't directly affect this investigation, but for the reasons you indicated, I think we were concerned, particularly in the context of when it was occurring, which was in October.
Correct.
During the campaign. And in our view, you look at that and you say, you know what, when there's a campaign going on and either side sort of commenting on this, the best place for the Justice Department to be is on the sidelines. The political debate will be the political debate. It might be fair, it might be unfair, but when you start doing that and sending out talking points across the country,
Right.
you might actually be encouraging people, maybe unintentionally, we didn't make an intent finding here, but maybe unintentionally encouraging people to, as you suggested, get the word out. Well, it may cause other people to want to speak who maybe don't agree with the talking points. And so that was one of the areas that we had concern about, and I appreciate you raising that, Congressman, because I do
My
agree
time
with
is
you.
up. I just can't figure out how Peter Strzok is still at the FBI.
Gentleman
I yield back,
yields,
Mr. Chairman.
gentleman yields back. The gentleman